quarterback as offensive coordinator this year. Go ahead.
Hey, welcome to night 2 of Overtime at the SEC Media Days. Stu McCann, Callie Cassidy, JD Zaza, recapping game with day 2 of the Media Day session here at the Omni Hotel in Atlanta. We had Auburn, we had Tennessee, we had Texas, and we had Georgia, the big three of the big four. Three of the big four. But we're going to talk about Auburn a lot, even though they're the ones who are trying to get into that grouping where it could be like the big teams in the SEC, because we know the SEC in the Big Ten, those are the ones that are highly thought of. They're the ones that expected to get 4 automatic bids into the college football playoff. So you got to be upper level of that, which is a spot that Auburn is trying to get to. Callie, what was your big takeaway from Auburn? They're maybe have not shown it on the field, but they certainly talked the talk a little bit today.
Yeah, I think they're coming back with that mentality that we're here to play. And I know head coach Hugh Freeze said, you know, we're competing for the playoffs. We're competing for hopefully a championship. And I think they're ready to bring it all in this year. And if that's what they bring, that's what they bring. I think they're ready for it.
They got so many questions today. I mean, just from our run around listening and picking up on little nuggets here and there. Hugh Freeze got asked about his golf game. There were players asked about the Georgia rivalry in case this goes to 9-game conference schedule outside of the 8 that it is right now. They got asked about Jackson Arnold, the new quarterback who came from Oklahoma, was asked which rivalry has more animosity, if you will. Is it the Auburn to Alabama and vice versa, or is it Oklahoma to Texas and the Longhorns to the Sooners? And he said unequivocally, it is the Auburn to Alabama or vice versa. From his side at Auburn, you can't even wear red in the locker room. That's something that is punishable by up downs and all those different things, running steps maybe, JD. What did you think about Auburn? I guess they made it entertaining. It wasn't all about football. There's a lot of stuff going on in their conversation.
There was a lot of really good stuff from not just Jackson Arnold, but Hugh Freeze and everyone. This is year 3 under Hugh Freeze at Auburn, so the Auburn fans are expecting them to win. Recruiting hasn't gone the way they hope, so they're hoping on the field with the addition of Jackson Arnold through the portal and all the additions that they have had, that this year is possibly a college football playoff berth for Auburn.
That is the actual words that Hugh Freeze said. They expect to be in the discussion. They expect to be competing and contending for the college football playoff year in and year out. This coming from a team that finished, I believe, is it 5-17 in SEC play the last 2 years? Mm-hmm. That doesn't seem to line up. But when you hear what they said today, do you believe them, Callie?
I mean, they've definitely got the confidence, and I think that plays a big factor. If the team can believe they can compete for the playoffs, then they can compete for the playoffs. I think a lot of it's just mentality. They've got to have that mentality, that winning mentality that maybe they haven't had the past couple of years under Hugh Freeze. And so I'm looking forward to seeing, you know, especially the Iron Bowl coming up this year. It's going to be in Jordan-Hare, seeing how that all plays out.
There is talent on the Auburn roster. We mentioned the quarterback, Jackson Arnold, big-time transfer, former 5-star recruit to Oklahoma, who is now at the Auburn Tigers. There's a lot of expectations when it comes to Jackson Arnold, but it is Andy Staples, who works for On3. He came out with a preseason top 10 of the top quarterbacks in the SEC. He listed 10 of them out. He did not have Jackson Arnold out there. There were some quarterbacks on there that had much less experience than Jackson Arnold. Austin Simmons, Ty Simpson. John Matee has done it at Washington State. Now he's at the Oklahoma Sooners. JD, do you think there's a little bit, what do you think about that? There's a lot of projection. There's not a lot of anything to back up some of these ratings. Do you think there's a little bit of a slight there that Jackson Arnold can use as a chip on his shoulder?
I was surprised when I saw the list because, yeah, Jackson Arnold didn't have the season that many of us expected at Oklahoma, but he still had ups and downs last year with all the offensive coordinator change they had, and a lot of receivers were injured for Oklahoma last year. I thought Jackson Arnold would at least be in the top 10, but but I think Staples was probably looking at expectations for, obviously Simpson will be around Alabama. Gunnar Stockton will be around Auburn. Austin Simmons will be around Ole Miss. Maybe he thought Jackson Arnold around Auburn and what he saw at Oklahoma wasn't all that special, but I would disagree, but we'll see.
I think it's something, I don't know if it's a slight as much as it's the fact that you look at all the teams, all the rosters in the SEC. Quarterback is such a strong position. Not all of them have shown it, but there is so much projection and there's so much when they come in as the talented recruit and the expectation after seeing them practice, go through spring, things like that. Lenora Sellers came out of nowhere, it felt like last year, and I think that's part of what Austin Simmons gets a boost from that. John Matee, Ty Simpson gets a boost from that. Those are the types of things that I think we're seeing here. Callie, were you surprised by the Andy Staples list? Are some getting a little bit too much too soon?
I wasn't really surprised. I didn't think Arnold was going to be in the top 10, but I thought maybe he could work towards that. That's kind of that mentality, going back to that, and that he can have that chip on his shoulder to get back. But I think the top 10 in my eyes was correct. I think everything went according to plan, and coming up, I think it was, like JD said, it was a future to this year and how everyone else is working heading into this 25 season.
I think it's just fodder for debate. I don't know, there isn't a clear answer. That's why this is so much fun. This is all about debate. All right, moving on to some of the other teams from today. Tennessee went around. They didn't answer too many questions about their new quarterback, the new quarterback situation. They said kind of they're ready to move on. I know that Josh Heupel and also Steve Sarkisian of Texas said they are they love the Alabama rivalry. What did you hear from those guys?
Josh Heupel was a big component when it comes to preserving these rivalries like the third Saturday of October between Tennessee and Alabama. Due to the uncertainty of the conference schedule, with everything going on with the playoff and what Greg Sankey said yesterday, Heupel pretty much wanted to come out and say that rivalries are what make college football special. Just how long they've been playing each other and the hatred or competitive between the two schools. And for Alabama and Tennessee, it's one of the most intense rivalries I've seen.
It is a huge rivalry. It's the third Saturday in October rivalry. It got a nickname for a very specific reason. Callie, when it comes to Texas, there's that one name. It's the guy who got so much attention. If you saw him in the breakout room, that main room, Arch Manning, there was media for days just gathered around that table. It felt like the old SEC media days that myself and Gary Harris would have covered. What did you think about just that scene, how that felt from just somebody who was watching it in awe, maybe?
Well, I mean, if you're sitting there watching and you've been at the SEC Media Day, especially even yesterday, most of the media people, they don't go up to them right away. They wait till they come into the room and then they just all kind of fall in line. But with Arch Manning, they were lined up. They were waiting 10, 15 minutes, waiting on him to come in. And I think that just shows how big of a name he is. I mean, he's starting at Texas for a reason. He's got that name for a reason. But it'll be good to see how he deals with all this social media pressure this year and see where it takes him, how he does in SEC play, and just what he does overall as a quarterback.
He is according to DraftKings, he is the Heisman favorite, despite the fact he started 2 games, throwing 95 passes. But he's a Manning, and that's kind of what comes with it. Do you think he's set up to succeed? I mean, we had these huge expectations, but he felt pretty comfortable, and he sounded humble. He wasn't going to let any of this hype train get to him.
I believe Arch Manning was very composed today, handled the media very well. But as you were saying, is he set up for success? I believe he's in arguably the best situation he could be. Texas is loaded with multiple running backs. Steve Sarkisian spoke really high about the wide receivers. He's got an incredible defense to back him up with Anthony Hill and Michael Taft coming back. And then the offensive line. So I believe Arch Manning deserves the hype, and I believe he could be the guy that gets Texas to the national championship after being so close the past 2 years.
That's right. Back-to-back seasons with a spot in the college football playoff. Last season, they lost in the semifinal to Ohio State, who went on to win the national title. Let's talk a little bit more about the Georgia Bulldogs. You know, it didn't feel like there was that much news around Georgia. It was kind of what we expect. I think that that is a compliment because we want to talk about football. They are very buttoned down. They're very professional. It feels that way. Did you get that vibe too, Callie?
Oh, yeah. I feel like Kirby Smart's definitely done well with that program over there. He, not want to say he's giving me Nick Saban vibes, but he was coaching with him. He's kind of giving that old school football vibe. And I think he's done very well with that program. He even talked about today how there's still relationship over everything is key to that team. And I think Kirby Smart is very much so trying to dig into you want to come to school for Georgia, not just the money, the NIL and all that. And so I think he's done very well over there in that program, and I think we'll see a very good Georgia football team this year.
The question that you just said reminded me of a question he got in the electronic media room. It went something along the lines of, Kirby, what is one thing your team did well last season, and what's one thing that they want to improve upon? And Kirby just came straight out and he said, I don't like that question because you can improve on everything. You don't want to put out something out there that's something you did well because there's always a way to make it better. So he was not having any of it, not something you did well. Plenty of stuff you can improve on, and that's kind of that's the mantra at Georgia, year in and year out. So we wrap up Tuesday. We get ready for Wednesday with Alabama. The Crimson Tide, Deontay Lawson. Who are some of the other guys, JD?
Caden Proctor and Tim Keenan III.
That's right. And Kalen DeBoer coming up. What's something you're looking forward to hearing tomorrow? What are you kind of thinking about that? I wonder how they're going to handle something, or they're going to be asked a question. What do you think that's going to be?
Yeah. I really feel like Coach DeBoer is going to get asked about the QB room, what he's feeling. So I'm excited to see if he's gotten any more clarity on that. I know they're probably not going to announce it tomorrow, but I would love to see what his mind's at on the QB room, how we're feeling about everything, and just hearing from DeBoer about the season ahead. You know, he's coming into this next season, and I'm really excited to hear from him.
I think there's also going to be some talk or some questions about what it means that they are the one SEC team that didn't lose anybody in the spring transfer portal period. All the other SEC schools kind of had some people leave, had some other ones come in. Alabama added maybe a couple, but they didn't lose anybody. And that, I think, is something that is going to be played up as far as the atmosphere there in the locker room and the culture.
Absolutely. Alabama didn't have the standard Alabama season. They underachieved for their standards, not going to the college football playoff. But you can see, as not many transfers left, is that Kalen DeBoer is building something special, and there's something going right at Alabama. And tomorrow we'll probably see Deontay Lawson, Tim Keenan, and Caden Proctor say the same thing, that, hey, Alabama is still Alabama. The standard is still the standard.
It's the people who said it before, and then the ones who pick it up and carry it a little bit further, and then they pass it along to the leaders of next year and the year after that. So it is fun to think about these teams, Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee is getting up there, Texas, the ones that year in and year out you kind of know what to expect and know how to handle a media day with just football talk. Don't have any of the side baggage or noise going on. That is it for day 2 of Overtime at SEC Media Days. For Callie Cassidy and JD Zaza, I'm Stu McCann. Stick around. More content coming your way on WVUA 23 TV and also WVUA23.com. Check out the app and tune in tomorrow for more content. Day 3, Alabama Day at SEC Media Days here at the Omni Hotel in Atlanta.